been shot. The general consensus is that that would be nice, but I dare to say that it might not. We hang around with Bono doing Live Aid and the like. Oh, I'm glad John Lennon died. Now before you start to boo me and say that I'm a cunt, perhaps I should explain. He last wrote a good song in 1971, and he never sang a decent one again. His music in the 80s would have sounded like Crowded House. Oh, I'm glad John Lennon died. And here's a thought, imagine if he made a guest appearance as a panelist on Nevermind the Buzzcocks. All his contributions would be painfully bad, and to see him look so past it would be really sad. He'd always be on Twitter making really racist jokes. I'm glad John Lennon died. Imagine if he, instead of Neil Buchanan, presented Art Attack. And here's a thought, I wonder did you ever stop to think about whatever would have happened to McCartney? Everyone would still be saying Paul is dead, and they would have named the airport after him instead. In 1990, Yoko would have killed him anyway. Oh, I'm glad John Lennon died. Sorry! Little Japanese baby, what have you done to me? My life will be so complicated now you have come to be. My wife went not so long ago on a business trip to Tokyo and came home with a nervous looking smile. By the time she said we'd have a kid, I completely forgot about what she did and thought I was your daddy for a while. Little Japanese baby, you look nothing like me. My friends are going to point and laugh, now you have come to be. You probably should be really glad that you never met your real dad, 'cause I bet he was an evil, nasty man. Now don't be too demanding, please, 'cause I'm afraid I don't speak Japanese, but I'll bring you up the very best I can. Little Japanese baby, little Japanese baby, little Japanese baby. As a teacher, I was teaching my class about light. Infrared on the left of the spectrum, through to ultraviolet on the right. I showed them the primary colours and drew circles of blue, green and red. I explained that each colour had its own wavelength, and the pupils wrote down what I said. while the class settled down to their homework. One curious boy raised his hand. He looked troubled with eyes open wide, so I asked, is there something you don't understand? Does that mean there aren't any more colours? Does that mean that I've seen everyone? I'd hoped one day to find shades that just blew my mind, but I'll never have that kind of fun. If there really aren't any more colours, and there'll never be new ones to see, all this time it would seem it was pointless to dream, and the world seems less colourful to me. Well, I just didn't know what to tell him as he stared at me expectantly. Did he know that I felt just the same way as him the day my science teacher told me? It's not true that there are no more colours. It's not true that you've seen every shade. All the reds and the greens and the vast in-betweens can be blended in endless new ways. There's an infinite number of colours that can shock and delight and surprise. You can have any shade when you know how it's made, and it's only a trick of the eyes. I'm not looking for a supermodel or the perfect girl with tiny waist or blonde or 32 double D. I don't want a girl with her own poetry or a PhD. I know who I want to make me happy. I want a slightly imperfect girl. Is that too much to ask? She should have an irrational fear of balloons and a slightly big ass. If I wait patiently, there'll be one just for me. I would live in a perfect world with my slightly imperfect girl. I don't want to lie awake and wonder what the catch must be, and wonder why on earth she'd want to spend time with me. I don't want other people to suspect foul play or want her to. I don't want my best friend to fancy her more than I do. I want a slightly imperfect girl. Is that really so harsh? She should have an addiction to shit magazines and a tiny moustache. And I don't really mind if her eyes aren't aligned. I would live in a perfect world with my slightly imperfect girl. Nothing could ever be more meant to be. We'd be together indefinitely. No one in the world would be happier with her than me. I want a slightly imperfect girl with horrendous big ears. She should shout the wrong name every time we make love and then burst into tears. She should scream randomly, put her fags out on me. I would live in a perfect world with my slightly imperfect girl. friends. I take reluctantly whatever drugs they put in my hand. When I'm with my nerd friends, I laugh at references I don't understand. And when I'm with my football mates, I sit there quietly and wait until they're not talking about football.
But when I'm alone, I go into my kitchen and I eat it all out. When I'm alone, I sit at my computer and I fart my brains out. When I'm alone, I click on sites you won't believe. And why am I deleting my history? Who am I trying to deceive?
When I'm with my stoner friends, we go to Munchie Heaven and I eat all the jam. And when I see my ex-girlfriend, I tell her all about how happy I am. When I'm with my political mates, I sit there quietly and I wait until they're not talking about football.
When I'm alone, I curl up on the floor and I pretend I'm dying. When I'm alone, I masturbate at my own reflection crying. I see how drunk I can get. I look my ex up on the internet. And then I make myself sick to make the voices go away. And I eat up the sick to make the voices all come back. And when I'm alone, I get confused and upset. I look myself